occupation as a beggar has left him located by the side of the Jericho road. Can you see this man? He's a beggar. So he relies on the kindness of strangers for money, food, and direction. Whatever he takes in for the day is from the mercy and the kindness or pity of people who pass him by on a daily basis. Can you see this dilapidated man with his tattered clothes, unkempt hair, unshaven face, and dirt-riddled skin? We can imply from the text that the fact that he's sitting on the Jericho road shows that he's been there for some time.
That's right.
Day after day, he begs people to show kindness, mercy, or pity by donating money, food, or even maybe clothing. Day after day, unsure of what he will eat or if he will eat at all. This blind beggar is at the lowest of the low. He's at the bottom of the barrel. Society has metaphorically and physically pushed this blind beggar to the side of the road, almost forgotten until you hear his pleas for mercy, kindness, and or pity. This is just a quick synopsis or even a case study on the life that is to be a blind beggar at this moment in time in the Bible. But even though the vicissitudes of life are vexing this man, while he is blind, he surely shows that he's not deaf nor dumb. Can I prove it to you? Verse 36 and verse 37 of the text reads, "And hearing the multitude passing by, he asked what it meant. So they told him it was Jesus of Nazareth that was passing by." This blind man has been sitting or located in this spot day after day, begging and pleading with people day after day. But on this day, he hears something different than what he's accustomed to. Now understand, he's blind, so he doesn't have the ability to see. That's one of the five senses. And since one of the five senses is not available for use by this blind beggar, I did a little research. There's a professor by the name of Francois Champlot, who is the director of the University of Montreal's Laboratory of Auditory Neuroscience and Research, presented research showing in terms of hearing that blind people are better at localizing sound, as well as blind people having the ability to differentiate between sounds better than people who can see. This blind beggar hears something different on this day. To everyone else, it may just sound like everyday hustle and bustle of the crowd. He hears something other than the normal sounds of everyday traffic. So the blind beggar becomes inquisitive. Now, this shows that he's not dumb, because even when I was growing up, my mother always taught me the only dumb question is a question that's never asked. So he asks, what is going on? And they tell him, Jesus is coming. In the very next verse, he cries out, saying, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Now, what would cause a man, a blind beggar who's never seen Jesus or has experienced Jesus firsthand, to call out Jesus with such fervency and vigor? The most pertinent answer is he's heard something about this man named Jesus. Let me see if I can make it a little bit more plain for you there. And I remember a story where a father is watching his son play with his friends in his front yard. And the friends are having a great time. They're being very jubilant. And then something happens. The kids stop playing. They look at each other. And unexpectedly, they start jumping up for joy. The father, kind of perplexed by what's going on, goes outside, goes to his son and says, "Son, what are you guys so happy about?" The little son, looking at his father, still jumping up and down, looks at his father and says, "Daddy, don't you hear it?" The father, thinking his son has clearly lost his mind because he can't hear anything. The son looking up at his father, and his father asks the question again. He's like, "So what do you hear?" The jubilation on the little boy is ecstatic at this point. He looks at the father again and says, "The ice cream truck." So now the father looks at the son. He looks one way down the street and doesn't see anything. He looks the other way down the street and doesn't see anything else. He looks back at his son and says, "It's not even on our street." The little kid, the son, looks back at the father, still jumping up and down, and looks at his father with dignity and says, it's not on our street yet. And so understand what this text is really trying to say is that this blind man hears something different. Even though the ice cream truck or Jesus is not on his street just yet, he just has so much excitement, so much anticipation that builds up in this man, all because he hears that hope is on the way.
That's right.
Can I understand that?
That's right.
I realize that we're in Luke chapter 18 and Jesus has been on the scene for the ride. So I can only imagine. So can I, if the word is eisegetically, read this passage for you? I don't know what the blind beggar heard, but I can just imagine what he heard. So as I did my research, I realized that the blind beggar may have heard how Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law so well that she got up and made Thanksgiving dinner.
All right.
Maybe the blind beggar heard how Jesus was a healing dermatologist and healed a man of leprosy. Maybe he heard how Jesus was a chiropractor, straightened a man's legs out so he could hold the bed he was sitting on and rise up and walk. Maybe the blind beggar heard how Jesus was a healing rheumatologist and healed a man's withered hand and made it whole again. Maybe he's heard how Jesus healed a centurion servant just by sending his word. I'm not done yet. Maybe he's heard how the blind beggar showed how Jesus showed how he knew meteorology, calmed the storm, and showed how the Creator could speak to the creation and calm the wind and the waves. Maybe he's heard how Jesus performed an exorcism on this man sitting at the tombs who had lost his mind, gives him his minds out, and then sends the demons into the ocean. Maybe he's heard how Jesus became a pediatrician, went to see Jairus' daughter, heals her, and along the way became an OBGYN and healed the woman with the issue.
Come on now.
This evening. Maybe he's heard how Jesus made the best fish fry and bread sandwiches ever known and fed 5,000 people. Or maybe he just heard about how he just healed the multitudes of people. All we know is that while sitting near this high traffic road, this blind beggar has heard something about this man Jesus. So let me ask you, what have you heard about Jesus that has you sitting in church on a Wednesday night after you've been at work all day? What have you heard about Jesus that would make you want to call out to him? So can I take it to the old school church? Maybe you heard that he's a burden bearer. Maybe you heard that he's a heavy load sheriff. Maybe you heard that he's a doctor in the sick room. Maybe you heard that he's a lawyer in the courtroom. Maybe you heard what he's done for others, and now you're calling on him because he can do the same for you. I'm trying to see if somebody's heard about this name of Jesus. This blind beggar calls out for Jesus. Not for who he knows him to be, but who he believes him to be. But his calls are met with unwanted responses from the crowd, or we can call them spectators for now. Verse 39 says, "Then those who went before him that he should be quiet. But he cried out all the more, 'Son of David, have mercy on me.'" The crowd spectator tries to shut up this blind beggar. Instead of focusing or helping the blind beggar towards the powerful Savior, they try to minimalize the blind beggar to a pitiful spectacle, not worthy of Jesus' attention. But this blind beggar calls Jesus anyways. Can I parenthetically pause right there and understand that I just have to deal with that?
Go ahead now.
The text says those that went before him. So they're not actually following Jesus, they're in front of Jesus. But then you have to understand, in our text, there's 8 verses in our text, and the crowd only gets a half a sentence. So I just had to wonder, and I learned from this blind man, that why am I giving so much the power to people who play a small part in my story?
Come on.
Do y'all understand that? These people who don't even follow Jesus, who have so much to say about trying to shut this blind man up, but yet he doesn't even notice them. He doesn't, matter of fact, it's a blessing that he can't see them. Because the thing that you have to understand about the blind man, he doesn't get into a debate with these people. He doesn't get